Because have you taken a look at the list of people they have interviewed to be their head coach, to be their general manager? We have spent a few good minutes here on Nothing Personal talking about the company they hired. Some of their former employees got together, made a consulting firm, not Samson and Coca, but it should have been a company hired to aid in the process of hiring a coach and GM. That process has become a joke. I want to go through what an interview could be, should be, and would be if you're the New York Jets and Woody Johnson. A parade of people come in. Just take one. Take one off the list. We'll read the list in a moment, but just take one. We're going to take Aaron Glenn. Maybe it's a Zoom. Maybe it's in person. For an in-person interview, there's logistics. You have to get someone in the loop. Maybe your traveling secretary, which we would do. Maybe the consulting firm, to earn its fee, gets involved in getting the coach to New York. Maybe they send a plane the way the Bears did for Mike McCarthy. Maybe that's what Woody does. But there's still a ride to the airport. Where's the FBO, fixed base operation where private planes leave from? A car to pick up the coach, bring him to the facility. Gets to the facility, gets handed an itinerary. Done that with managerial candidates. Here's the people you're going to see, and here's the time. 11 to 12, meet with search firm. 12 to 1, meet with head of football, baseball operations. Of course, when there's no GM and no coach, that's an issue, but there's somebody else in the football operations. 1 to 2, lunch. Maybe you have them meet with the CFO, general counsel. I think they're hiring one of those too. Maybe you have them meet with other owners. Then a meeting with Woody Johnson happens, of course. When you are interviewing candidates, you tell people who are doing the interviewing, here's your time slot with this candidate. Here's some things I'd like you to go over. I wonder whether Aaron Rodgers' name comes up at all. I wonder whether, other than Rex Ryan, when an interview was happening, whether there is a serious discussion about whether Aaron should be the quarterback, whether they want to run it back, what their philosophy is, offense, defense, special teams. Maybe you ask specific questions. What do you do with the man on second and third, down 1 run in the 8th inning with your number 8 hitter up? What would you do? Maybe they do that to the football coach. What would you do? You've got the ball on your own 40 with 1.5 minutes left, 2 timeouts, 4th and 1. Maybe they go through game situations. Maybe they do it as a test. Maybe they keep track of who does what. Well, this guy would be terrible at clock management, but this guy's really good at talking to his players because he reads motivational books. Maybe they do something as asinine as Woody Johnson walks into the room and there's a game console waiting and they play Madden and they test to see who Ron Rivera would take as his team on Madden because they do it as an all-star team, not as a team. Maybe they do that. Maybe when the GM comes in, they talk about what would you do with this year's draft if you had the number 1 pick, if you had the number 4 pick? What are the type of resources you need? Let's take a look at our weight room. What do you think of that? It's such a bunch of horse hockey that I am worked up because you don't need to interview this many people to find your guy, no matter what. Rex Ryan, Jeff Hafley, Vance Joseph, Arthur Smith, Aaron Glenn, their interim coach, Jeff Obrick, Joe Witt, Ron Rivera, Matt Nagy, Mike Loxley, Steve Spagnuolo, Darren Rizzi, Mike Vrabel, not available, Josh McCown, Joe Brady, Brian Flores, Brian Greasy, Matthew Coca, David Samson, Dan Lebitard, Stu Gatz, Pablo Torre, Amin El Hassan. The list goes on. It turns out that Billy Gill's going to have an opportunity to interview for this job. Why? Because what are the criteria? Being a coordinator, offensive, defense, being a former coach. The Jets like going back to the well. Do they like that as a possibility? You think Woody Johnson spends his time thinking to himself, I'll know it. I'll know it when I see it. I'll know the candidate that I want to work with. They've interviewed purportedly like 13 GMs as well. Do you think they're doing like matchmaker, make me a match? And they're going to do like Photoshop opportunities with the GM and the coach? How do they look together? Are they doing practice press conferences? We would talk to our managerial candidates about the media, how to deal with the media, give them some media training. Maybe that's what they did. Maybe they're giving media training to every candidate, and that's taking 4 or 5 hours over 5-6 days. Maybe they're having every coaching candidate in a game of Survivor or Squid Game. That would be something. You have them all come, red light, green light, whoever's the last man standing. Maybe you starve them, put them on an island, get a few cameras out there and say, hey, Rex Ryan's really angling for this. It looks like he's going to get it. And then you've got Darren Rizzi who runs over and says, what are you talking about? And then you do challenges. Maybe that. Did you ever think of the possibility? And I'll be despondent, Coca, if this is the case. Do you think the Jets have an hourly deal with Mike Tannenbaum's company instead of just a fee-based success deal? Hey, help us get a coach and GM and we'll give you $100,000 once we hire the coach and GM. You think maybe Mike Tannenbaum learned from Ira Axelrad, who used to be a partner at Proskauer, used to be our attorney at Proskauer, now works for Woody Johnson? Maybe Ira's taught Mike how to charge by the hour. Ira was really good at that. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're sending bills to Woody Johnson and they have no interest in having this come to a conclusion. Every day that passes makes Woody Johnson and the Jets look more incompetent, and you'd think that that would be impossible. If I'm one of these candidates, I'm telling the Jets, you know what? You've got as much time as Pete Alonso does to sign with the Mets. I'm giving you 72 hours, and then I'm pulling my name. I don't need this aggravation.